Alright, our next one is dissolved oxygen. We are going to be using this sensor right here, and I'll show you how to use it first and then maintenance and calibration. So, first things first, how to use it. You have this protective cap, you have the on-off button here. I will turn it on-off first, and it will turn on. At that point you can open up the cap. I usually go straight out, or if I have to twist, I'm going to twist this way, because if you twist the other way, this way here, it may loosen the cap and release the storage liquid. So I'm going to twist like that. What I'm checking for is any bubbles. This looks actually really good. I don't see any major bubbles there. And the black part will go inside the water, and you're going to swirl very slowly, and you'll notice that the reading will move here. Wait until that reading stabilizes, and this is the what the students will record. I will usually be directly supervising this particular probe here because it is very delicate. This part here is not waterproof. This one here is, but yeah, this is not waterproof over here, so I will usually directly supervise it because this is one of the most sensitive probes, especially the end of that one there. So after it stops kind of moving, you'll notice it's at 5.7 here, not bad. That is the reading, 5.6. That is the reading I'll usually take, is after, let's say 10 seconds or more of being the same value and not moving, I'll use that value here. So, 5.5 it looks like for our reading. Alright, so it went back up to 5.6, so that's good. So 5.5, 5.6. I would say 5.5 would be the reading, and then you can shut it off. And there we go. At that point, students can record their value on here. A 5.5 is good water level. This came from the tap, so there was a lot of air included into the sample here. Usually you wouldn't necessarily go directly into the river with this, or stream or pond. You could, but I would highly suggest getting some water from there and then doing your sample, just because if you're near the river, this whole system can fall in. Not to mention you can damage the end of the probe here on rocks and things. So I usually put them in sample containers and take the sample that way. So for general maintenance, everyday type maintenance, you can dry this all out. I would just do a quick air dry kind of thing. If it's a little bit wet, that is totally fine. Again, you're trying to reduce the amount of molds and algae in here. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll go in with a paper towel like this and just dry the inside. I would dry just the outside with the paper towel. I will not touch the end of that sensitive probe there, because this might lacerate some of that and affect your readings. So just the outside over here. You can let it just air dry out like this. Not overnight. I would just do it for a couple hours. Overnight is unnecessary. And just dry out the inside over here. I'll usually stuff a paper towel in like so and just run it around. That way it's nice and dry. So I'll leave this out to do that. Now, just for general maintenance, you want to make sure there's, again, no bubbles on the end here that is filled with that fluid. That fluid is necessary in order for it to continue. There's no bubbles in here. This is absolutely perfect, so we will have accurate readings. I'm just going to cap this to protect it for now and set this aside, because what we're going to be doing is setting one of these up to show the full procedure in case you do need to replace a damaged tip, or if there are any bubbles or anything like that, or just for general calibration. Now, for long-term storage, you will want to completely dry this out. So you'll want to undo this part here and you'll notice there's no fluid inside. This over here was already set for long-term storage. I usually use this cap for that. In this case, you want to make sure it's completely dry. I would set it out overnight. Again, do not touch any of this part here, especially the platinum end on here. That is extremely sensitive. You do not want to touch that because it will scratch it and end up reducing the accuracy or damaging the probe. So this right here kind of protects the end. So what I'll do, that is for long-term storage. I will also take out the battery for long-term storage as well. The battery is located here. It is a 9-volt battery. I'm going to leave that in there just for now, just because we will be setting this up. So, but if in long-term storage, I'm just taking this out, capping it like this, completely dry, and you're ready for long-term storage. Now, out of long-term storage, or if you need to recalibrate or reset up your thing because of a damaged probe end, what you can do is undo this. Make sure there's no rust or debris or anything like that on here. If there is, use a microfiber cloth. It is not provided here, but you can do that. This is fairly clean over here, it looks like. So I am going to just set this up normally. What you'll want to do is, a second here. There we go. Find one of these. Now it should be in this package here. We have the probe tips here, and you'll want to find one that's not damaged. I'll give you an example of a damaged one and a not damaged one. Whoops, right here. So this one here, you can see some damage onto it. Not so good to use. You want to use one that's clear, and you'll notice also this is kind of wavy. Not what you want. You want a nice flat or consistently rounded one. This is bumpy, not good. So I'm not going to use this one. This is damaged and used previously. Use a new one. This is a brand new one from the package here. You also have a calibration solution as well as this right here, which is a little mini screwdriver that you'll need. So first things first, you'll want to get the probe, hang it off the end like so, and just turn this on. This is the first point of the calibration. So you press the on-off button here, and there we go. So you just wait for it to kind of stabilize, and it is just about stabilized. I'm just going to wait a couple more seconds here for that. And then we'll get to sampling. All right. So it should read 0. It's reading 1.1 right now. Not so good. So what I'm going to do is basically get the screwdriver. You want to go under the 0 calibration screw and just turn it so that it reaches 0. So I'm going to turn it. Oh, you may need to press the cal button. Yeah, there we go. You press the cal button and go until it's 0. There we go. We're at 0 right now. Perfect. Once that's all set, you can then turn it off. And you can set this aside. You'll need it later. You will now fill that new one that you have over here with the calibration solution. So what we'll do is open this up here and fill this up. Now you'll notice that there's a little bit of a ledge. Let me point to it with this right here. A little bit of ledge right there. Let me see if I can focus this. There we go. That's where you'll want to fill the solution to. So let me get that and fill it There we go. It is filled to that ledge. That's exactly what you want. And the next thing you'll want to do is get an O-ring. So there's two O-rings that seal this up. The first one is this giant O-ring. Ooh, close. This giant O-ring on the very bottom. That one, just make sure that it's okay. But also, there's a smaller O-ring that fits right on that ledge that I showed you right over here. So this O-ring is kind of, I think, a little bit damaged, so I'm going to use a fresh O-ring. There should be some in here. If there isn't, then you can try reusing some O-rings. I'm just looking here. Let's see this one. Okay, and sometimes they're stuck on that ledge over there, so let me just grab this this guy right here. All right. Awesome. All right. Let's throw that out. Get the other one from in here, and we can put that on the ledge. So I'm going to put this O-ring right on the ledge here, and sometimes it helps. Oops. Oh, there you go. You'll notice it's almost on the ledge. I'm just going to seat it with this guy right here. Make sure you don't damage it with this thing. There we go. I'm just pushing down gently. And next, again, don't touch the bottom, but making sure that it's pointed down. I'm just going to push it in. There may be some leakage. There's a drop that kind of leaked out. That is totally fine. I'm just screwing this probe on as vertical as I can. Now, it helps too, just a second, I forgot to do this, to tap on it just to get the air bubbles out. That'll release some air bubbles off of the bottom. And I find that helps a lot to prevent some more air bubbles from forming on the very bottom of the thing. But you may need to do this 1 or 2 times. And you'll notice some of that fluid leaking out. That's totally fine. I'm just going to tighten it up like that. And then you look on the bottom, and look at that, no bubbles. Let's say you do have some bubbles on the bottom, some big ones. You want to take this off again, tap it, and then put it on again after that. You can also take it off a little bit, tap it so that it releases those air bubbles, and then put it back on. If you lose too much fluid, you'll want to put a couple extra drops in there. But I got it on the first try over here, and that tapping definitely helped over there. Once that's done, you can now calibrate it again. Before you calibrate it, though, you need to turn it on and let it go for a little bit. And you need to do this for 15 minutes. Just so that, and if there's any oxygen in this fluid, it will burn up that oxygen. So you kind of have to let it go for a little bit. 5 to 15 minutes. Once that's done, what you can then do is you can do one of 2 things. You can just hang this off of the edge. I like to put a little bit of water in the cap here. Oops, there's some more O-rings in here. Oh, there's all the rest of the O-rings. Oops. So what you can do is put a little bit of water on that end cap there. Let me get some more here. There we go. Just a tad of water. You'll notice that it's just on the bottom. And what I'll do is, just to keep it moist, put that in the end. You can press the cal button, and you'll want to get that to 100% by just turning this right here. So turning it till it gets to 100%. Oh, there we go. Oops. There we go. And then you're done. That easy. But I haven't waited the required amount of time, so I'll have to do that and recalibrate. But that's how you can calibrate it. again, alternatively, you can just hang it off the end like so, but the way I was taught was to do it this way. The revised things that tells you just to hang it off the end and calibrate it like that until the display reads 100. When you're done, just shut it off like so and make sure it's capped. Again, cap should be dry, the outside should be dry. Don't touch the end of this sensitive sensor over here. Not so good. But if you're going to use it the next day, I will sometimes just cap it wet and leave it like that. Alright, that should be it for dissolved oxygen.